You found the signs and studied all the patterns. You're hot on the trail. Now, it's just a matter of time. Closer. Closer. And closer. Do you have what it takes to go bow hunting for white-tailed deer? Can you scout a hunting area and pick out the places where deer will come within range of your arrow? Are you able to get in really close without spooking the deer away from you? Do you know how to plan a hunt? Do you have the skills to hunt effectively? This program can help put you on the path to successful bow hunting. It shows you the reasons why some hunters get a deer year after year. And when you understand the whys behind a sport, the how-tos make a lot more sense. In this program, Jerry Chiappetta and Jim Doherty will help you understand the white-tailed deer so you can be a better bow hunter. Jim Doherty is one of North America's most noted authorities on archery and bow hunting. Many of his big game trophies are in the record books, and he spends much of his time writing and lecturing about the sport. Jerry has bow hunted and studied white-tailed deer for over 30 years. He's also an award-winning filmmaker and outdoor writer. And like all expert hunters, Jerry Chiappetta and Jim Doherty have their own unique ideas and theories about bow hunting for white-tailed deer. But Jim and Jerry and all successful bow hunters have one thing in common. They consistently get a deer by following a basic formula, a formula for success. By following that formula, you can dramatically increase your chances of harvesting a deer with a bow. The 3M formula for success has three main factors. The first factor is environment. To find deer, you need to find an environment that meets their needs for survival. But to get within bow shot of deer, you have to scout the environment. You need to pinpoint the places deer come to, the places where you can get close for a well-placed shot. The second factor in our formula for success is deer behavior. Deer spook when they smell, hear, or see danger. When you understand this part of deer behavior, you can evade their senses and get in really close. You can even take advantage of deer behavior during the mating season. That's when it's easier to find big bucks and get in close for a harvest shot. To be a successful hunter, you must hunt with a strategy, a hunting plan. That's the third factor in our formula. Remember, when you're out bow hunting, the deer is on his own turf. His senses are much sharper than yours. Your only hope is to outsmart him with your strategies. A strategy gets you close to deer on purpose, not just by luck. Put them all together, environment, behavior, and strategies, and you will definitely increase your chances of success. Of course, this one program cannot tell you everything about bow hunting for deer, but it will explain each factor in the 3M formula for success. You can add to your knowledge by watching other programs in our 3M Sportsman's video collection. By following our formula for success, you're going to have a much better chance of harvesting a deer with bow and arrow. Maybe even that big buck you've always dreamed of. Do you know where to go hunting? And more important, why it's a good place to hunt. For bow hunters, those are very important questions. Successful bow hunters spend a lot of time looking for the right places to hunt for whitetails. And they scout those places thoroughly. They have to, because bow hunting is such a close-up sport. To be a successful bow hunter, you must take your shot within a range of 15 to 25 yards from the deer. More than 25 yards and your odds of making a clean harvest shot go down. Closer than 15 yards, and you may spook the deer before you get off a shot. That means you must get within 50 to 75 feet of the spookiest, most wary big game animal in the woods. To do that, you must be able to predict where the deer will be on the day you go hunting. That's so you can position yourself in that 15 to 25 yard range for a good, clean shot. And to make that kind of prediction, you've got to know the deer's environment. In general, you're most likely to find deer in places where they can meet their needs for survival. Their needs are simple: food, water, and cover. White-tailed deer like to eat agricultural crops like corn, rye, hay, or even tobacco. They also eat many kinds of food that grow in the wild, like acorns, apples, berries, grasses, and shrubs. Deer need water to survive, and in rugged, dry environments, you look for water to find the deer. Deer need some kind of cover to shelter them from wind and weather. They also use cover to hide from danger. Usually, the best places to look for deer have food, water, and cover all close together. That way, the deer don't have to move around as much to survive, and they are more likely to use those spots. But to find those places, you need to scout your hunting areas. Scouting helps you find out where the deer are and what they're doing. With that knowledge, you can put together a hunting plan for getting in close to deer. Scouting is the best way to improve your chances of getting a deer. When you scout, you look for three things. One, you look for what's available to the deer in terms of food, water, and cover. That tells you where the deer could be. Two, look for physical signs of deer. Things like tracks, droppings, and runways. Signs tell you where the deer have been. And three, you look for the deer. That tells you where the deer are right now. When you scout, you should do it with a plan in mind, not just randomly walking through the woods. That's because you want to do more than just get familiar with your hunting area. You must get to know the patterns of deer activity. To scout for those patterns, pick a hunting area you can cover thoroughly. In most parts of deer country, a square mile is sufficient. Get a topographic map of the area and use it to note any details you find. Look for those deer survival factors, details like sources of food and water. Areas where thick cover is right next to the deer's food supply. Again, those are the kinds of spots where you're most likely to find deer. Go into those spots and look closely for signs that deer leave behind. Tracks. Droppings. Bedding areas. And note them on your map. Those Those signs tell you that deer have been using the location. Runways show you where they frequently travel from one area to another. All this information helps you see the pattern of deer activity. Where are they? What are they doing? Where are they going? When you know what the deer are doing today, you can predict what they'll be doing tomorrow. Then you can draw up a hunting plan that will put you in position for a clean harvest shot. Come along as Jim Doherty scouts one of his hunting areas. He's looking for places where he can get in close to deer in that 15 to 25-yard range.
This Oak Ridge is a good feed area. They're coming out of a swamp over here, up onto these Oak Ridges to feed on acorns. And this runway is an awfully good situation for a ground blind. This fallen tree is a natural. They're used to it. They're coming right around here, going up on this ridge. So if I've got the wind right, I can build a blind right in this natural tree. Be a perfect setup, 15-yard shot. What are they doing and where are they going? That's what you need to know. This is the kind of area we're looking for, a lot of activity. These droppings are real fresh. There's a lot of acorns in here. It's a good feeding area. Now, if I'm gonna hunt this spot, I'm gonna set up right where the deer are coming to feed, as long as the wind's right. That way I'm gonna have a good close shot in the vital range. Deer really love acorns. And there's lots of acorns in here. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. Look here. Deer wandering through here, picking up all these acorns. Usually they've bitten some in half. They'll bite one in half, eat part of it, spit it out. They're kind of messy. It gives you a lot of indications of where the peak feeding activity is. There's going to be a lot of deer working this flat. It's a good spot, really good spot. It's a good situation here to get them close.
Getting in close. It's the key to successful bow hunting. And the only way you're going to get in close on purpose is if you know where the deer are and what they are doing. That's why you scout. As you do your scouting, it's important to look for deer sign. But remember to keep your eyes open for the real thing, too. Of course, seeing deer is the best sign of all that you found a good hunting area. It takes practice to see deer in the wild. First of all, don't look for a whole deer. That's something you rarely see when you're out hunting. Instead, look for parts of deer. Jerry Chiappetta has some pointers to help you train your eyes.
That means being alert for the black tip of the ears, or the nose, or the flick of the tail, or the white patch under the chin, the nervous movement of a leg, and that horizontal line when all the other lines in the wild are pretty much straight up and down. Learn to look through the trees and the brush by concentrating your focus. Yes, look through these things. Good binoculars help a great deal, and it takes practice to focus beyond the immediate surroundings. And a good time to do this practice, of course, is out when you're doing your scouting.
And remember, always talk to the landowner before you go on private property, for either scouting or hunting. Ask for permission and ask about the deer. The landowner often knows a lot about the deer on his property, about their feeding areas and their daily movements. Building a relationship with the landowner is not only good manners, it's going to help you be a more successful bow hunter. You've seen that getting to know the deer's environment is the first step in our formula for success. It will help you pick the areas that most likely hold deer. You scout those areas to discover the patterns of deer activity. Those patterns help you develop a hunting plan. When you understand how deer use their environment, then you'll be able to find them and get within that critical 15 to 25-yard range on purpose, not just by chance. Do you think you could get this close to a deer in the wild? To get within that 15 to 25-yard range, you've got to understand the deer's behavior, the second factor in our formula for success. You need to know how deer use their senses to detect danger. You must also know what you can do to avoid being detected. And you should know how to use a buck's mating behavior to your advantage, increasing your chances of success. White-tailed deer have a well-earned reputation as being jumpy, wary, always ready to run and hide. That's because the deer has a defensive zone. Anything entering that zone, anything that looks, sounds, or smells dangerous, can cause the deer to move away, hide, or spook and run. To be a successful bow hunter, you've got to learn the strengths and limitations of the deer's senses. That knowledge will help you get close to deer. A deer uses its sense of smell for many things: finding food, finding a mate, and detecting things that might be dangerous, including you. If the wind, temperature, and humidity are right, a deer can smell you more than 100 yards away, and you're trying to get within 25 yards. Of course, a deer cannot smell you until air currents carry your scent to the deer's nose. That's an important weakness in the deer's defenses. To get in close for a harvest shot, you've got to position yourself so that air currents work in your favor, carrying your scent away from the deer. Many bow hunters use tree stands to keep their scent away from deer. When you're up in a tree stand, the warm air around your body rises, carrying scent away from you and the deer. However, you must remember to check regulations in your hunting area on tree stand use and construction. Tree stands also help the bow hunter hide from the deer's vision. Deer expect danger to come from around them, not above them, so they rarely look up into trees. A deer survives by seeing danger he cannot smell. With large eyes placed on the sides of his head, a deer has a 270-degree field of view. This deer can see you now. Now, and maybe even now. Scientific research indicates that deer can see colors, not just black and white. Even so, firearms hunters in most states and provinces are required by law to wear high visibility colors for safety's sake. But as a bow hunter, you must get much, much closer than firearms hunters. To avoid being noticed by the deer, you must wear camouflage clothing. Camouflage your face, and camouflage your bow and all your equipment. Deer quickly notice any kind of movement. But if you stay absolutely still, the deer may look and look and never actually see you. The least little movement, and there he goes. But you have to move to draw your bow. So to avoid being seen, you move in stages, bit by bit, when the deer isn't looking in your direction, or when the deer's vision is blocked by cover. Even if he can't see you, the deer will probably hear you. Those big ears can swivel in all directions, focusing on any hint of danger. And in that critical 15 to 25-yard range, the deer will hear almost any sound you make. Jim Doherty has some practical advice on how to prevent sounds from spoiling your shot.
Typical hunting arrows travel around 200 feet a second. Sound travels at 1,088 feet per second. Noises that you and your equipment make are going to reach the deer 5 times faster than your arrow. You're going to miss. Silence that bowstring with a string silencer. This is an acrylic yarn device. It takes the twang out of the bowstring noise. Let me show you. The comparison between one without it is a high-pitched noise. That is the bow hunter's biggest problem.
The biggest challenge a bow hunter faces is overcoming the deer's defensive behavior to get within that critical 15 to 25-yard range for a clear harvest shot. The bow hunter must avoid being seen, heard, or scented by the deer. But there is one aspect of deer behavior that bow hunters can take advantage of, and that's their behavior during the mating season. This period, commonly known as the rut, occurs in the fall months, beginning earlier and lasting longer in the warmer southern states. With a little research, you can find out when the peak rutting activity usually occurs in your area. Plan your hunting trip for that time. Why? During the rut, a buck will tend to be out in the open more, displaying his presence. His main concern is finding receptive does, and he may pay less attention to you. That makes him more vulnerable and easier to hunt. During the rut period, bucks leave 2 physical signs that can lead you right into the best hunting spots. Rubbings are one sign you should look for during your fall scouting. Jerry Chiappetta describes how and why bucks make rubs.
According to wildlife researchers, rubbing is to establish an area of dominance, similar to a big bear clawing a tree to leave his mark. Beside the visual evidence that this territory belongs to this big 10-pointer here, he's also leaving his scent. That scent is coming from glands around his eyes, nostrils, ears, and forehead. Notice how he checks from time to time to make sure the scent is good and strong. Note, too, that the buck shreds the tips of these little limbs and then rubs them in and around his nose. He even chews on them to ensure that his scent is left behind.
Bucks also make scrapes during the rut. Scrapes are an important sign for bow hunters. Jim Doherty explains why scrapes are so important and how bow hunters should use them. His hunting companion is Jerry Chiappetta's son, Jerry Jr.
What's this over here, Jim?
That's what we're looking for right there. That's a pretty good scrape. Yeah, that's a good here. See, been working on this. They get their antlers up in there and twist them around and pull on their branches and rub them on their scent glands under their eyes, a preorbital gland. This is a pretty good scrape. Now, the thing that's better about this scrape than those little line scrapes I was telling you about I found in the jack pines, this is real close to this heavy cover. If we go along this line of timber now, we're probably going to find some more scrapes, and they're pretty active scrapes. If a guy was going to hunt scrapes, downwind of this line would be a good place to go.
Would this be a good place to use that deer sex scent we were talking about? Or?
Sometimes. A lot of people will take that scent, that doe and heat scent, and freshen a scrape with it, put some of that in it. What happens, the buck's making the scrape to attract the does in a sense. A receptive doe will come to this scrape, urinate in it, okay? Go off someplace, maybe not very far away. They'll hang around the scrapes. The bucks will run these scrapes and check them, and they find out they've got a hot doe, they're going to go looking for the doe. But what they'll do most often is not just run in here and say, well, there's Sally here, you know. They'll scent check it from back here in the woods a little bit. So you'd want to hunt back on these major runways or parallel to them where those bucks are running, scent checking these scrapes. You know, if there's a line of scrapes here, that buck may be running at the edge of this swamp back in here. with the wind coming across, and he'll scent check them. He doesn't just go to each scrape and look and see what's going on, then go to the next one.
By knowing about scrapes, you can find an excellent place for your stand, a place where big bucks may come close enough for a clean shot. It's just one example of why understanding deer behavior is so important to bow hunters. By understanding their environment, you can find deer. By understanding their behavior, you can get in close to deer. But to actually hunt deer successfully, you need a strategy. And that's the next factor in our 3M formula for success. As you walk into the woods, do you have a plan for what you're going to do? What if the wind shifts? What if you spend all morning in your primary stand and no deer come by? Do you have another spot picked? To be a successful bow hunter, you need to have a strategy because you want to reduce your dependence on luck. Remember, the odds are extremely low that you can simply take up a stand somewhere and get a deer. A strategy has 3 parts. The first is preparation. You've got to get your equipment and your hunting skills into shape for the season. The second part is your best prediction about the locations deer will be coming to. That's based on your scouting. And the third part of a strategy is your hunting plan for putting yourself into position to get a clean harvest shot. You must prepare yourself for the hunt by practicing. In bow hunting, you usually get only 1 shot at a deer, so you want it to be your best shot. Jim Doherty has some good advice on how to practice.
You absolutely must use the same bow, arrow shaft, and broadhead combination when you're practicing and when you're hunting. I mean the very same combination, not just a practice head that weighs the same as your hunting head. Practice with your broadheads, the same combination you're going to use in the field. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to the game you hunt.
To be effective, your arrow must hit the deer's vital organs, like the lungs and heart. You have a very small target area, and your shot must be accurate. The deer often bolts from the spot where it was shot and then drops. You must be prepared to track the animal if necessary. Preparation also includes knowing how to hunt safely, like always using a rope to raise and lower your equipment, and using a safety belt in a tree stand. Preparation gets you ready. Scouting tells you where to go. Now the days you spend in the woods will really pay off. Your scouting map should be full of useful information, the locations of food and cover, deer tracks and other signs, rubs and scrapes, information on deer movements from the landowner, and if you've been scouting well, actual sightings. All this information will help you predict where the deer are most likely to be coming and going. That's where you want to be to have the greatest chance of success. Even if you know where the deer are going to be, you still need a plan for getting close to them. A plan reduces your dependence on luck and makes hunting much less frustrating. Basically, there are 2 different hunting plans for getting in close to deer. Either the deer comes to you, or you go to the deer. Going to the deer, known as still hunting, is definitely the most challenging way of bow hunting for whitetails. You move in on the wariest big game animal in the woods. You must have the highest levels of skill and knowledge to do it successfully. Waiting for the deer to come to you, a plan known as stand hunting, is challenging too. And your chances of success are probably higher than still hunting. In this one program, we can't tell you about all the details that go into those plans. Things like selecting the right equipment and tuning it, using lure scents, and rattling in big bucks. You can find that information and much more in other 3M Sportsman's video collection programs. Now, let's say you've done your scouting. You've prepared your equipment. You've practiced so that accurate shots come naturally. You know how to be safe in the field. You're ready to plan your hunt. Let's watch as Jim Doherty takes Jerry Chiappetta Jr. through the fine points of planning a stand hunt.
Here's the tree, Jerry. This is the one I was telling you about. It's a perfect setup for this crotch stand. See how it forks? The best thing about it is it's got excellent background cover, good front cover. And it's on the edge of this rye field. They're hitting pretty good. Come on over here. I want to show you this runway.
Okay.
All the tracks. Okay, here's right there. Pow, see? They come right out of this swamp over here. This is the hottest runway we got. But there's two more coming in here on this side and one on the other side. So, and this one, it's only 15 yards from that tree. It's duck soup. Screw and steps are great, but you've got to be sure they're legal in the area you're hunting. On private property, like we are here, it's no problem. But there's a lot of federal land, public lands, that you can't use a screw and step. There we go. We know it's 15 yards to that runway. Pace off 20 yards right out here to the rye field and put yourself a mark so you'll know exactly where to hold your pin, okay?
Okay.
Jerry, after you get that marker tied, I got an idea. Go back to the truck and get my bow and that deer target.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Jerry, you've got an idea what this looks like at 20 yards. Let me take it over here by this runway. This is the one that's 15. This is about where it's going to come from. This is a little bit bigger than a real deer, but you're going to get the perspective, I think.
Jim and Jerry Jr. saw deer in that location, but not the big buck they were hoping for. Later, during the peak of the rut, it was Jerry Sr.'s turn to hunt on that stand. Bow hunting for deer. It's one of the most thrilling, challenging, and rewarding sports. If you want to do it right, if you really want to master the sport, then the formula for success will take you as far as you want to go. Good hunting. The white-tailed deer, North America's most popular big game animal. 3M Sportsman's video collection will help you become a more successful deer hunter with the only complete series of award-winning original programs about deer. We're the best at making you better. Catch the elusive white-tailed deer in his private moments. A year-round portrait of this beautiful animal, from spring fawning to the fall rut. Secrets of deer behavior that few hunters are privileged to see. Top hunters know that deer hunting is more than just a lucky walk in the woods. To be successful, you must know the way of the whitetail. In this award-winning program, the first deer hunting video to receive Outdoor Life's 5-star rating, Jerry Chiapetta shows you the whitetail's needs, habits, and defenses, the foundation of knowledge you need to find deer consistently, on purpose, under all kinds of hunting conditions. It takes more than a few hunting tips and a lot of luck to become a successful whitetail hunter. It takes experience, know-how, and a sound hunting strategy. In successful whitetail deer hunting, Jerry Chiapetta shares a lifetime of experience, showing you the reasons why his hunting strategies and techniques work. Know-how that will help you put a buck in your sights every season. A trophy whitetail, the ultimate challenge in deer hunting. Be sure to join Jerry on his 2-hour journey to uncover the secret strategies used by expert hunters to consistently harvest a bragging-size whitetail, from Texas to Pennsylvania, from the upper Midwest to Canada. If you want to experience the thrill of hunting deer close up, watch Bow Hunting for White-tailed Deer, acclaimed as the most detailed, in-depth video on the subject. Master bow hunter Jim Doherty shows you his secrets to success, selecting the right equipment, developing the right attitude for bow hunting, and getting incredibly close for a clean kill. In successful mule deer hunting, Jim Zumbo takes you in pursuit of the Rocky Mountain mule deer, the spirit of the high country. More than just an adventure program, Jim shows you new, innovative strategies that modern mule deer hunters use. Jim will prepare you for the deer hunting trip of a lifetime. From the gentle stillness of a deep forest glade to the heart-stopping excitement of a high country hunt, no other programs give you more in-depth information and true-life action than the Sportsman's Video Collection from 3M, the fastest, easiest way to improve your deer hunting skills. And if you love hunting, fishing, and other sports, think of 3M as your total video resource for outdoor adventure.